it's opportunity, it's education, it's personal responsibility and self-respect. It's all of those things that play into the mix that make us who we are, that make us get out of bed and work like Peter and his family. And I was raised on a small dairy farm in Herkimer, New York. So it's work, it's productivity, but above it all, it's personal responsibility. It's a sense that we make our own lives, and that consequences matter. If we do something right, we deserve to be rewarded for it. If we do something wrong, we deserve to be punished for it. And we're creating a system where people today, young people, feel a deep sense of entitlement about their expectations, and that is that if they're born in this country, somehow everything will be all right. That denies them the dignity of doing what I've done, and I'm sure all of you have done, and that is build your own life, build it responsibly, and build it with the knowledge that you are responsible for yourself and no one else really is. If my neighbor signs a mortgage and it doesn't make sense, and the bank's a bad bank and he doesn't make enough money to pay it back, and the government comes to me and says, wait a minute, our sense of fairness is that you should pay his mortgage. That's not fair. That undermines the integrity of the system. It denies the moral consequences of his stupidity or her stupidity. We have to get away from that. And that isn't to say we're not a compassionate or empathetic people. We are. We truly are. Who's more generous around the world than Americans? But the idea that that's sustainable, that's the real question. You can't sustain a system over time that gives people the sense that there's anything that's theirs other than opportunity. Entitlement societies and welfare societies and socialist societies fail because they fail to recognize the one thing about human nature, and that is we are all driven by our own desire to get ahead as we see it. The pursuit of happiness in this country was what we were promised, not the guarantee. And if we don't tell our kids that they have that right, they have the opportunity to pursue it, but not the right to attain it, we are destroying the very thing that makes them their life worthwhile.
Why you're supporting Richard Hanna?
Oh, because I think he knows what he's doing and he's going to do a good job if he gets elected, which I think he's going to do.
How about that?
Yeah.
We have a congressman-elect in our midst.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
He's a good man in my book.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of times success is measured by bringing home the bacon, but what he's saying is there ain't no bacon to bring home.
No bacon there to bring home, is there?
Right, so we got to be a little more accountable.
Yep.
And if you live in New York, you get it. You get it because you know that fundamentally the growth of government is incompatible with the success of the rest of us. And it's not that government doesn't have its place, but it can't own, run, control everything. And that's what's happened in this country. And they don't get it because they see us as victims now. When the government has problems with money, they tax us more. When you and I have problems with money, we cut down. Well, it's time for them to cut down because they are killing the goose in this country. And I've said too many times to people, and I've been criticized for it, and I don't mean it to be harsh, but there are too many people in the cart in this country and not enough people pulling it. 20 years ago, less than 20% of the population was a net recipient. Today it's close to 50, you know that. That's not sustainable. You could take all the money from the other 50% of the people. You couldn't pay the bills we're making. The growth rate of the economy this year, yesterday came out, and they said it was Friday, that it was 2%. You can't pay this kind of debt. 42 cents on every dollar goes to pay off our debt. That's at almost no interest rates.
How old are you, young man?
6.
Now, what do you think about this national debt and you having to pay $40,000?
Not good. I don't want to pay $4,000.
$40,000.
$40,000 for the debt.
It's time for real people to step who have a real mission. People like you and me who get it, who understand how value is created and understand how it's destroyed, who are willing to take some time out of their life to go represent their communities in a way that is responsible and isn't about the next 2 years, but it is not about the next 4 years. It's about the next generation and the generation after that. You know, I've known Peter for a while, and I know he has a big family. I have 2 little kids. How many kids do you have, Peter?
13.
absolutely. No, I know. I know that number. I just always amazed when I hear it.
9, Richard. 9. I'm not lying.
Yeah, because you only have 2 years. That's 4 more kids. You're. I guess you'd have quadruplets or something, but you know, you got a great farm here and a great lifestyle, and yet I bet you anything there's something in your heart that says my kids can't do it here.
We're already talking about that, Richard.
Yeah, well, what the hell? You know, don't you want to grow old with your kids? That's a question you should ask yourself. I think when you vote for people this year, ask that to yourself. Ask yourselves: is New York State providing you with the opportunity to grow old with your kids? They are most emphatically not. They are making sure that every one of us has got one eye on the exit because we just can't afford to be here anymore because it's become about them. It has allowed public employees to make about 80% on average more than the rest of us. There's so much wrong with our system. But at the core of it, and this is the good news, that right now people see it. We realize that we have spent our prosperity. And this is a pivotal point. This election is a pivotal election. Not because you want to vote Republicans. Vote for people with solutions whose hearts are in the right place. And then, whoever you vote for, hold their feet to the fire. And public service is not an entitlement. It's a privilege. It's an honor. Going to Congress is something to be thankful for because it's not about the position. It's the idea that you can advance yourself into the future for the people you care about. And that's why you should do this. That's why everybody should do this. To have some outcome beyond your own life. It's about a legacy. It's about the importance of defending your children and how you want to see their lives.
Many got cars, they got motivations, but a personal phone call. If you each would do that same thing in your neighborhood and have your neighbors show up and have your folks come out and say, pick them up in a bus. You know, we have a motorhome. We'll pick them up, whatever it takes. Let's get folks out to vote. Let's get Richard in office, and let's get some good representation in this state.
Yeah.